When you're looking for a hydration product, what are the things that you're looking for?
If I'm ever looking for a hydration product, the number one thing I'm looking for is that it tastes good. Like, water has no taste at all. Water's what, like, nature turns to rehydrate, and that's a little bit boring. And then you come down, are you gonna go with sugar? Are you gonna go with sugar-free? And all of this is just conversations point. Does this taste better than the other product? That's it. Jocko Hydrate is delicious. It's got electrolytes. That's between you guys. I don't know what electrolyte is. Frankly, I don't even need one. You could give me more electrolytes than the opponent, I'll beat the opponent. You could give me less than the opponent, I'll still beat the opponent. I can't even spell electrolyte. This has them, whatever that is. And it tastes good, which is really what matters. Jake Paul, Mike Perry, fight ends, fun begins. I mean, this is Jake Paul 101. And each time that he keeps doing it, I keep on thinking, okay, he got lucky. Okay, he fell over into it. Oh, okay, this one worked out for Jake again. And it's turning into a situation where I've been in Jake's shoes to a large degree. And to keep that energy up, to keep that motivation up, is not something you have a choice of. And Jake appears to me to still be highly motivated. Now, when I talk about the post-fight, here's what happened. Jake decides it's a good idea to call out Alex Pierre. Now, so many people are going to say, Jake has no shot and Pierre would kill him, and he doesn't really mean that. Well, I mean, at some point, guys, there has to be agreements that we make. I mean, there has to be something that Jake Paul is getting for doing all of this. He's telling us that what he's getting is to shut the mouths of the doubters. And the doubters are all out there, and they're banging their chest, but at some point, to square the deal, we have to give him what he wants. I mean, we have to. If we're going to be fans or we're going to be haters, if you have that side of the coin, if you reserve that right, there is the other side of the coin. And I don't know if we're in a position with Jake Paul anymore to say that he's scared and then fill in the blank. You could be right. Pierre goes out and stomps him. He should have nothing to do with Pierre. He can't compete with Pierre. He doesn't really want to. That's not the same conversation as he doesn't mean it. He's scared. He wouldn't sign the contract and step in there. Test himself and put it on the line. It's not the same conversation. And that's where a little bit of the mix-up is coming. Now, Jake Paul criticism Monday morning, of course, is that he fought Mike Perry, who was smaller. But the problem with that is he signed to fight Mike Tyson, who was bigger. And we can go down the road of age. I understand those things. But if I told you right now, you being a real you, putting yourself in somebody, if I told you right now you're going to go play one-on-one against Andre Agassi in tennis, you're not losing any sleep. If I tell you tomorrow you're getting up in front of the world and you're playing 18 holes against Tiger, you don't lose any sleep. If I tell you you're going to go one-on-one with LeBron, you don't lose any sleep. If I tell you you're going to box Mike Tyson, you're up all night. So before we want to dismiss Jake and we want to act like Mike is older, let's pick our argument, okay? Jake Paul sucks because Monday morning is that he fought somebody that he outweighed. Now, the other day, it was that he was going to fight somebody older. And the week before that, it was that he was fighting somebody that wasn't a current athlete. The week before that, it was somebody that wasn't in their prime. Now, I am the single biggest influencer. That word is kind of reserved for weirdos. I don't choose to be that word, but I'm not only audited with everybody else out there, I'm publicly audited. My number is right next to my name. Like, I don't get to come out and claim I'm just one of the guys. I'm not one of the guys. I am the guy. In all fairness, I am the guy. I single-handedly made Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. That's a story for Ben to tell if he would ever choose. I made that fight. To speak to the level of influence, I came right here with you guys. We do it together. We're a team. I mean us when I'm saying me. We're the ones that called for Mike Perry to have this fight. Nobody else. not Mike Perry. We came right here and we had a conversation about guys who could be available. And we did a whole diatribe that Perry was your guy because Dave Feldman had the balls to let him go do what we did. We did a whole thing on this. So when we all band together and we get the fight, and that was the fight. Oh my goodness, that was the fight. Everything that Perry was coming off of, he's sharp. This is a sport. He's going to show some gloves on, but this is the fight. Mike Tyson himself. Can we at least agree that Mike Tyson has earned the right to a valuable opinion? Can we do that, guys? Because on Thursday of last week, Mike Tyson, who's planning to fight Jake Paul, which is incumbent upon Paul getting a victory over Mike Perry. Mike Tyson came out and said, I'm a little nervous about it. Mike Perry's one tough customer. And I'm just sharing with you, we're changing the rules as we go. And I don't mind it. It's part of sport. It's part of life. But I do feel as though Paul has made it very clear to us what he's fighting for. Which is your respect. More than anything, he came out and made a claim, and people thought he was like, we want people to know he was sincere. We want people to know he means it. If I say something, I mean it. And he's using this as a way of proving it. So he calls out Pereira. And when I talk about Paul just keeps getting, boom, he's taking a swing and he just keeps getting them. He calls out Pereira. And when he's in the ring, he either FaceTime Pereira or Pereira FaceTimes him. He cuts a promo, okay? And when you have a fight that isn't going to happen, but before you think that's not valuable, if you've got a little show somewhere, you're down at the YMCA, you're doing a fundraiser, whatever it is you might do, try to get Alex Pereira to show up. Try to video it and try to have the rights to the video to Alex Pereira. See what that's going to cost you. And do not call Ed and George if you don't have $1 million. Okay? Jake Paul captured the video and audio rights to the reigning world champion who doesn't show up to fighting events at main event time for under $1 million. I mean, I'm sharing with you, you might miss what was happening here. I'm not talking about the post-fight if it wasn't for this. I have a little show on a small Mon Pa network, just trying to get up and get things going over there, called ESPN. And we covered this topic today. Not Jake Paul and Perry. That's a separate deal. That's a separate organization. You bring the UFC reigning champion into the conversation, you're opening different things up. Paul couldn't have lined that up. He didn't know what time he was going to be done. He didn't know what time he was going to be done with Perry. So he goes right from Perry. He goes from complete exhaustion. You have just such a feeling of relief when a fight is over. So he's got exhaustion because of what he did. He's got some pain somewhere, whether he admits it or not. He's got relief. He's got this feeling, but he knows, man, I got to promote. Now's the time. Now's the moment. See, this is where the most fascinating part of Jake Paul comes in. How and where is that energy coming from? And you won't ever hear that from me. If I was ever tired, you'd never know it. I could be up for 5 days. I would never tell you I was tired. I might tell you I was up for 5 days. I would never say those words. I don't find time. I make time. And I don't like when somebody doesn't. But I must tell you, when I sit back and I watch Jake Paul, there is a part of me that's bewildered with where he's making and finding the time. You cannot be in that level of shape. You cannot go and get those results, no matter what a natural you are. If you're not in the gym, not just once a day, but twice a day, it can't happen. Human physiology, can't happen. And I look at all the media he did. I got to be part of his fight with Nate Diaz. I was there supporting Nate They let me come up on the scale as these guys are coming face to face. It was one of these things, but the media never ended. And when we got to the arena that night, he rides in on a tank and the tank's not ready. So he's waiting in the queue. He's got to get in there. He's got to get wrapped. He's got to get warmed up. He's got to get drug tested. He's got to fight Nate Diaz. And he's in a different place trying to ride a tank in so they could get some kind of a shot. When that ends, he's got his own stylist. You guys think his hair looks pretty cool? You think he looks pretty cool? Well, there's some work that goes with that. And I'm just going, how does he have time? I remember thinking it. I remember seeing him ride the tank and then go into the room with the stylist. I happen to know the stylist because her father came out and I met him in the elevator at the hotel. Had this whole great conversation. But then his brother gets there who flew in from WWE, didn't even have time to change his clothes. At some point, he wraps his hands, warms it, is able to compartmentalize. And by the way, you're just tired. You just need energy. You really need it that night. It's a distraction. He has none of the things. He has none of the bulletin points that people say that you need. Focus, for one. He does not have focus. That I can guarantee you. He's in multiple different places. But when it's time to zero in, he zeroes in. Conor McGregor told Mike Perry, "You're fired." From bare knuckle. Said, "I'm an owner, you're fired." Now, Mike Perry had possibly the greatest response ever. He told Conor McGregor, "I'm an owner too, and you can't fire me." Well, like you think all hell's gonna break loose. As a matter of fact, it kind of looked like this is a bad move from Conor. This is kicking somebody when they're down. Like it looked like this was a bad move. And Mike Perry was so carefree about it, it really didn't stick on Conor. It really didn't stick on Perry. It ends up just being one of these great moments. Perry said, "Yeah, you're an owner. You got that power, but I'm an owner too. You can't fire me." Whole conversation ended. Might have been my favorite part of the night.